Start with the team news. I guess in Capia, you said there might be an update in Huscan yesterday, and then where we're at with Calafiori, any bumps and bruises that you talked about on the weekend. We can go through bit by bit. Should we start with those?
Yeah, those two not available yet, and the other doubts that we have are Willie and Leo.
Okay, so in Capia first, you had a scan yesterday. Do you know a bit more about the problem or how long?
We don't know yet.
Don't know yet. And Calafiori, how many more?
He's progressing, but we don't know. I think it will matter for a few weeks probably, but we don't know exactly when.
Okay, and Saliba and Trossard, obviously not part of your FA Cup squad. So what's the issue with them? When might they be?
Yeah, those two are a doubt.
A doubt because?
Because they're not fit enough.
Because? Just bumps and bruises, anything serious?
No.
I forgot how much fun this was.
Yes.
And Max Stallman as well, for his behalf. Where is he?
Very similar to Mosquera as well. You see, I'm giving you Mosquera.
Yes, oh, thank you. Wow, it's worth coming.
So very similar injury, very similar time frames, and both have all been really well, but they're not training yet, so they're still a few weeks away.
Okay. There was a lot of narratives around your game on the weekends, and one of the interesting ones that maybe did get lost a little bit was the return of Kai.
Yeah.
A word on him, because he's not started for almost a year, but you wouldn't know it to look at him. How impressed were you with his timing, his touch, and also the chemistry that he just seems to have with the players around him? He's going to be pretty key for you, isn't he, over the next few months?
Yes, obviously we missed him a lot. A year is a long time in football, but as you said, the way he's come back, he looks really fit, really confident. He's such an intelligent player that straight away he's someone that connects with the players really naturally, and you can tell how much they love him as well, because every time he was in and around the box, everyone was jumping on the seats, on the bench. So yeah, we are so happy to have him. He's going to help us so much, and now we have to keep him fit.
Is he okay? He came through 20 minutes. Is he ready to start? Not quite ready? How do you play the next few weeks?
We have to manage his minutes now, but he had a good block of 20-25 minutes the other day. He trained really well today again, and yeah, it's now a case of building his robustness and make sure that he's available for every game. I
spoke to Liam yesterday and was reminded that you two met in an FA Cup final.
Yeah,
do you remember him that day?
I've seen a few pictures of that, so yeah, that's the beauty of football, you know, and two very different careers, but at the end facing each other tomorrow at Stamford Bridge in a semi-final.
Has your paths crossed since? Do you know him well? You haven't sort of, you know...
No, I know people that has worked with him. I know people that they've been close to him in his journey, especially as a coach, and they talk really highly of him. So, yeah, wish him all the best, apart from tomorrow, obviously.
I also spoke to him because there was a lot of sort of noise and narrative around the fact that he'd been given such a big job without having that experience, if you like. I mean, clearly he's managed in France, but not having that experience of... playing in the top flight and managing in the top flight. When you got that opportunity, can you remember back those sort of 6 years ago? You know what he's like. There's that sense that he wants to prove people wrong. That's part of his motivation. And I wondered what yours was. And in terms of him looking at you, he said, and he would love to think that he'd be there in 6 years and have done what you've done.
Well, personally, my motivation was to help the club and transform the football club. That was it, not to prove people wrong. That's in my case, it wasn't a motivation. Obviously, they know him really well because they have worked together with him for a few years now. So they made that decision based, for sure, because of his capacity and because they believe that he deserves and is the best person to lead that project.
And just finally for me, semi-final at this stage of the competition last year, and I think by your own admission didn't do yourselves justice in that game against Newcastle. Is that the itch that just needs to be scratched? Is that the thing that's kind of going to push this side or help push this side tomorrow evening?
Yes, football gives you another chance. We've been really consistent again in the competition, and now we have to knock another big team out of the competition to be in the final, and that's the mission. Hopefully we learn from last year because it was painful, especially the manner that the games went and the amount of chances that we missed not to go through. But hopefully this year we are better and especially more efficient.
Thank you.
Alex Bibsy.
Hi, Mikel. Just on the semi-final again, do you think getting to a semi-final at this stage of the season with the potential of reaching a final can help with the tension when you're trying to get over the line in our competitions?
Well, the more you are involved in these kind of games, the better, because it gives you a nudge, it brings the team a different kind of energy, and it gives you the sense that the objective is very, very close, and that's a massive motivation for everybody. So we know that we are 2 games away from playing a final. We have to go game by game, and the first one is Stamford Bridge, and we know we have a really tough opponent in front.
And on Noni Madueke, against Portsmouth, a mixed day for him. Potentially lost the ball for their opening goal, missed the penalty, but also 2 good corners for assists. Is that just part of the journey?
Yes, well, he was very influential, as you said, in some aspect, very, very positive. In some others, things that we need to improve in terms of the consistency, but the level of threat that he provides to the team, I think, is remarkable.
Take it all in?
I went to sleep.
Did you straight away?
Yeah, it's the best sleep I've had in about a week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's been a great week, a week I'll never forget. Yeah, good win, a good way to start. And now we have a really, really big game in a couple of days that I'm really, really looking forward to seeing how we'll do.
Yeah. When's the last time you went to Stamford Bridge?
I did a game. It was a charity game, a charity event. I actually played. I wasn't very good. I've also played with Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. It was about 5 years ago. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank was playing. It was a really, really good mix of people. We had a really good time. It was for charity. It's a little bit different. It's going to be a little bit different on Wednesday night.
Ready for, I guess this is a few days in, not even a week in, it's probably one of the biggest games of your managerial career, isn't it? Semi-final Arsenal, chance of silverware, Wembley final?
I think people will look at it that way. People will look at it that way. I don't see it that way. I think every session that I take, every meeting that I take, every game that we play is the most important thing. I live in the now, so it is the most important game, because it's the next one. And I mean that if you start to prioritise games or think something's more important than the other, then you're not focused. I don't care if it's a pre-season game, I'm doing it at my maximum. And I expect that from whichever group I work with. So for me, that keeps me calm, because I'm happy with the process in which we work as a staff and which the players are taking on. I'm not making it any bigger than the fact it's the next game and we have to win. And that's the way I see it.
A lot of people last week when you got announced pointed to the fact that you didn't have that Premier League coaching experience, even though you'd obviously taken the club elsewhere. When you look at Arteta, a few people pointed out he didn't have much, well, he didn't have any, did he? He went with Pep, and he's done all right. So when you're looking at sort of career progression, is he somebody maybe that you look at, somebody took a chance on him and said, we believe the time is right for you to take control over one of the biggest clubs? I don't know, do you?
Everyone starts somewhere. It doesn't matter what.
Everyone starts at one of the biggest clubs, and you two.
I haven't quite started.
No, but your first job in the Premier League.
Yeah. No, I think Mikel is someone who's done an incredible job. He's had time to build the way he wants his team to look. They're very well organised. They're very good in terms of their organisation in every aspect of the game. And he's done a very, very good job there. Like I said, everyone has to start somewhere. I'm really, really looking forward to the game. It's just one of those things that everybody has a different background. Everyone has a different way of getting to somewhere. And you respect everybody in the industry, because it's a difficult industry to be in. Especially as a coach, you're judged on every word, every action, every game. And if you can't deal with that pressure, then you shouldn't be in the job.
I guess when you look at what he has done, and you talked a lot about culture, didn't you, and getting that right, and that energy, and that was what he's done. He's slowly built. Yes, he's had a few, hairy moments where he didn't think he'd carry on. He's been given the time to be able to assemble that over 6 years. That's the sort of project, I guess, you'd like to emulate here?
Yeah, I'd love to be here for 6 years and longer. I'll be here as long as possible, but I'm aware in order for that to happen, I need to win. It's as simple as that. I understand every club has a different project. This word project comes out a lot now in football. But the idea in any project is that every game you play, you're trying to win it. It's as simple as that. So for me, my focus is, yes, I've got ideas about what I want the team to look like in a year's time, 2 years, 3 years' time. But I think I've got enough resources and enough tools with me now to win now. I've made that clear to the players. So, we're going to give it our best shot on Wednesday. The lads trained very, very well this morning. And, I'll make a decision on the team in the next few days. And hopefully we go and attack the game.
When we look at how the season will be remembered for Arsenal, does it matter if they win the Carabao Cup or not? Or is everything focused on winning either the Premier League or the Champions League for them?
I think if you'd have asked the manager at the start of the season to list in order which trophy he would like and put the most onus on winning, I think it would be the Premier League. And the reason I say that is because they've been so close but not managed to get over that last hurdle. Great opportunity this year to do it. 6 points clear at the top of the league. It's in their hands again. But winning the Carabao Cup after getting beat in the semi-finals last season by Newcastle, look, if they can put a bit of silverware in March in that cabinet, that might give Mikel Arteta and his Arsenal team the final kick they need to go and do what they haven't done since Arsene Wenger was there, which is win the Premier League. So, yeah, I think it's a real positive if they were to go and win it. Would it have been the first one that you wanted to win at the start of the season? Probably not. But what a great opportunity to have a day out. But they've got to overcome Chelsea first, which is never easy.
I guess if it's one of those where if they get to Wembley and they win it and they have those celebrations on the pitch, that Mikel Arteta's message can be, think how great this will feel if it's actually the Premier League.
Totally agree with you. But from a player's perspective, if I put that hat on, it would give them huge confidence going into what we always know is a really tough part of the season towards the end of the Premier League. So they're in a great position, first of all in the league, but they want to put in a good performance. They want to get a positive result to take into the second leg. But so will Chelsea. The EFL Cup is a great cup, the League Cup, for any team. You saw what it did for Newcastle last season. It got them into the Champions League by winning it. So, look, it's a great opportunity for either team to pick up some silverware.
Is it a case that belief, which we always talk about, a group of players, once you've done something, you can do it again, that will also extend to the fans, and that at times it can be a little bit nervy, and that some supporters in their mind have, as you just said, we were a few points clear a couple of years ago, and whereas if you've got one trophy, there's that belief of, OK, this is a group of winners that we feel can see us over the line. Yes,
I think probably for the management and the coaching team, it probably relieves a bit of pressure as well, because they have been so close. Look, the Premier League, we know, is extremely difficult to win. The level of consistency needed to win the Premier League, and that's why everybody loves it so much, because the team at the bottom can beat the team at the top. You don't see that domestically in every league in Europe. So, look, he will be using this, no doubt, as a motivational tool, first of all, to get to Wembley in a cup competition with 40,000 Arsenal fans there for a day out, and if they can get over the line, it will set them up wonderfully for finishing the season strong in the Premier League.
Well, what about their opponents who do have plenty of recent experience of winning trophies? Chelsea, Rosenior has told his players he trusts them all and is giving them all a clean slate. In return, he's demanding total commitment to the cause from all of them.
It's different for each individual. I think I have a high set of values for the group within that, where regardless of tactics or technique or systems, if you're not at your maximum, you're not being respectful. If you don't give everything, you're not being respectful to yourself, to your teammates, to the supporters who pay your wages. And normally, if you max out and give 100% in life, good things happen. So that's my demand. My demands are very simple. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't hide from the ball and give 100%. It's very, very simple. Normally, the rest takes care of itself with all of the details within that.
Does every player have a chance?
Every player has a chance. Who would have said that me from Wandsworth, with the playing career that I've had and the CV that I've had, ends up as head coach at Chelsea? You have to give people a chance. Otherwise, what's the point? You know, everyone has a dream, but to realise your dream and to realise your potential, you have to max out in terms of your work ethic.
One player who'll be hoping to impress Rosenior is Benoit Badiashile. The French centre-back is fit again after a series of injuries.
Are you excited?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, really excited.
What does that, mean for you as a player? Perhaps not you, but some of the other players. Is it a fresh start?
Yeah, can say this, I think. But let's not forget that Maresca was a good coach as well. So yeah, it's really good to have the new coach with us, and we'll try to do our best.
Let's talk about your start of the season personally. Has that been frustrating, especially the early part because of injuries?
Yeah, I had a lot of injury, but yeah, it's the past now. I'll try to stay fit until the end of the season. That's it.
Are they kind of managing your playing time?
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, I need to be careful and manage my time.
Is there an injection of something when a new manager takes over in those first few training sessions?
Yes, the players that weren't in the team, like Liam has said there, everyone is starting from the same point. Those players will definitely have more of a smile on their face. They'll think there's now an opportunity to impress the new coach coming in, because they'll want to be picked when he's selecting a starting 11 or an 18 or a 20-man squad. But it shouldn't be that way, but it is. Unfortunately, having been through it as a player many times, Liam, will have gone in there and listening to him speak. His messages are clear. His messages are simple. His expectations from his group of players, there's not one player that could watch that and not know what their manager expects from them. I think, that could be, they talk about simplicity being genius. That might be one of the ways in which he's managed to pass subliminal messages onto his players.
I also think when a new manager comes in, those attacking midfield positions are really interesting, because we all like watching different things, don't we? And he might want different things. So for one manager who prefers Garnacho, you feel there'd be another who would prefer Pedro Neto, someone else who might prefer Jamie Gittins, for example, that they have so many options, and probably Cole Palmer aside, not quite sure what the best combination is, and that's one of the big things for him to work out.
It is, and what he'll be doing is he'll spend a lot of time on the training pitch watching them, but he'll also spend a huge amount of time, and not sure how many people know this, after training, everything's filmed. So he and his coaches will sit for training, and he'll find an hour, he'll find 2 hours to evaluate his training session, evaluate his players. So he's not just judging them on what he's seen with his eyes, he'll be judging them again through the camera. Because Chelsea are such a big football club, they'll have all that technology, he'll have all the physical output, the physical data, he'll know if his players are maxing out, he'll know if they're not. And listening to him there has to be a technical and tactical side to the game, but it sounds to me as if he's asking his players to give 100% every time they go onto the pitch. He's got some exceptional attacking players to pick from. What he needs to do now alongside his coaching staff is work out what is the best combination of players at the top of the pitch to give him the best opportunity of winning games.
Do you think also that there is a mentality to question a little bit with him, particularly discipline-wise? They keep getting players sent off, that because it's a young squad without that John Terry, Frank Lampard figure, that's something he needs to try and get into them, is a bit of leadership, a bit of game management at times. That is big in making this team better. Yeah,
I think you want your players to play on the edge, but you don't want them to go over, and therefore you don't want them to get sent off. You don't want to be without 3 or 4 of your best players in the squad because they've made a stupid decision and got sent off. Liam will get to know his players on a personal level, can already see that, and he needs to understand what it is they're playing for, who it is they're playing for, and getting to know them. I saw a clip in the Charlton game at the weekend, and he was sat on the bench with his players having a conversation. Those things might seem normal, but in football that at times isn't normal. They had a smile on their face. He needs to be approachable, but he also needs to know, and the players need to know, that he's got an air of authority because he's the decision maker. But if you do it day in, day out, session in, session out, you'll get an opportunity to play. And when you do, he'll give you clear instructions, go and undertake those instructions on the pitch. But as you say, they are a young squad, extremely talented. He will need leaders within the group to step up. He might sign 1 or 2 in the January window, you don't know. But I'm excited to see a young British coach getting an opportunity.
It was a cracking game earlier.
To the Arsenal boss this afternoon. Gail, here's a question for you. Arsenal have so much defensive cover these days. Is there any possibility, even a squidge, that they could go in for Mark Gahey?
Yeah, very good afternoon, Will. According to Carve Solico, and we know him rather well, don't we, in Sky Sports News and around transfer windows, there is just that smidge that they could enter the race in the summer. It's perhaps not a surprising link, is it? Because we know that Mark Gahey is out of contract. So, yeah, entering the race perhaps in the summer was what he put out. Look, when you look at the facts, you said they are very well stocked. They have had injuries, haven't they, there during the season so far. But you look at William Saliba and Gabriel, undoubtedly the number one choices. They're both on long-term contracts now. They've been signed and sealed, haven't they? And they're here, you'd have thought, for the long haul. And added to which, they strengthened last summer with Christian Mosquera, who we've seen come in, haven't we, early on in the season when Saliba was struggling. And then you've got Piero Nkapie, who is has a bit of a muscle problem post-Liverpool draw last week. So, yes, he might not be available immediately, but they're there. And then you have to add in also the likes of Urian Timber and Ben White, both really can play. They both preferred positions are in the more fullback position, but they've both played in a central defensive role. And in fact, that's why Ben White was bought, wasn't it? So there are a lot of players there. So I'm not sure that there is even that squidge, or that smidge, as you put it. But the thing I would say is it seems very odd, doesn't it, to be talking about a transfer window in January. And guess what, Will Perry? We're not talking about a striker, because they've got one of those and they've got 2 that are coming back in the likes of Jesus, who's found his form, and Havertz, who, of course, played for 20 minutes, having not played since the first game of the season. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he's got to say this afternoon. But, of course, this afternoon is more about that huge semi-final that they've got, first leg in the League Cup against Chelsea tomorrow night.
Gail, thank you very much. I don't know what squidge or smidge is in French. Do you have a word for that?
Sure. Even in English, I'm not really sure what it is.
Just a teeny-weeny chance, Jules. Look, it is, when it comes to Mark Gahey, there are a bit of FOMO knocking about with some clubs, because on paper, everyone fit. Arsenal really don't need Mark Gahey. I know that's crazy to say of a player of his quality, but Saliba and Gabriel have done so well for them. It makes sense for other clubs, but it also does make sense from a business point of view for no matter who you are, Bayern Munich as well.
True, but you can also look at it from the Gahey point of view and say, why would you go to Arsenal? Even let's say Arsenal wanted him and put an offer on the table, would you go there in World Cup year, as we've mentioned earlier, where you need to play a lot, this January, when he knows that unless there's something that happens to Saliba or Gabriel, he won't play anyway. He would not start in this team. There's no way. I don't think it would be a good move for him, whereas at City, with all the injuries and the players missing, no problem. At Liverpool, a little bit like Arsenal, unless something happened to Konate and Van Dijk, I don't think he would got in.
Ahead of Konate?
I don't think so. Not for the partnership that he's created with Van Dijk right now. And Gahey, I know he's right-footed, but he plays on the left-hand side, where Van Dijk also plays for Crystal Palace in the back 3, so different to the back 4 at Liverpool. But I think you also, as a player, need to look at all of that. Okay, how many minutes will I get? Where will I fit in? Who is playing in my positions? And that plays a big part in your decisions.
I wonder what he is thinking, Mark Gahey. A penny for his thoughts. I mean, also the fact that they've gone out of the FA Cup to Macclesfield, by the way, at the weekend. So, he's not defending that. He's got no dreams of going back to Wembley to lift that trophy again.
And to Julian's point, I wonder how much, coming through the Chelsea academy and having been deemed surplus to requirements at Chelsea, he is sort of wary of the fact that if you do move to a big club where you're 3rd or 4th in the pecking order, it can be very damaging for your career. So I think he wants to move to a club where he's a guaranteed name on the team sheet. And City would seem to tick that box.
And Jeff Hendrick, a couple of hours ago with us, was saying that when you can go to these clubs, I mean, even in Conor Gallagher's case, Atletico Madrid are a massive football club, right? I know they're not Real Madrid, Paul, but they are huge. And Conor Gallagher is kind of out of sight, out of mind when it comes to playing for England. I'm not suggesting that Gahey would go and play for Bayern Munich and suddenly Tuchel or whoever the England manager is, turns his back on him. When it comes to what Liverpool had arranged with Mark Gahey in the summer, it was a fee around, I think, £35 million, wasn't it? Who knows what the deals were behind the scenes. Liverpool now would probably have to up that agreement from the summer to match, if not better, Manchester City. And there is no guarantee that Liverpool finish in those top 5 places.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a different conversation now. It's a different negotiations as well, because if Gay comes as a free agent, it's a very different structure to the deal than if you have to pay a transfer fee, obviously, now in January, or it would have been the case last summer for Liverpool in terms of signing on fee, in terms of wages probably. And now that you've got somebody else in the mix as well, between City and Liverpool, it will not just be like who offers the most, because Gay will look at other parameters really in this discussion. But financially, it would be a very different agreement for Gay than it would have been 6 months ago for Liverpool, or that it would be even right now. That's why I think it's probably better for him to stay at Palace, finish the season, and then as a free agent, he will have so many more options than now.
And in August, Liverpool were the champions. They still are the champions, of course, but they just spent a lot of money over the summer. Oh my gosh, the sky's the limit for Liverpool. Manchester City, they had a bad season last season. Are they going to get back to the city of old? Well, fast forward 6 months, they do seem to be back to the city of old, whereas Liverpool, there's now a bit of a question mark over them. So are they as attractive a prospect as they were back in August? Or the chance to work under the greatest coach of his generation, Pep Guardiola, is that a lure for Gahey?
Yeah, and actually there might not be a guarantee that City do go back in the summer, because Vardiol will be back from his broken leg, and
True,
Diaz, who knows
absolutely.
what's happening. Now is the chance to strike if he wants Manchester City. That makes sense. But as you say, the world is...
Now, Arsenal travel to Chelsea tomorrow in the first leg of their Carabao Cup semi-final. Let's go live to Gail Davis, who's been speaking to Mikel Arteta this afternoon. Gail, Arsenal reached this stage last season, but they were knocked out in the semi-finals against Newcastle. How much of a motivation do you think that gives Arteta and his players?
Yeah, very good afternoon, Dharmesh. Fresh from celebrating one cup win, admittedly with 10 changes as well, which makes it all the more impressive. Mikel Arteta is preparing his side for this two-legged semi-final against Chelsea, the first of which gets underway tomorrow evening. Of course, you can see it live on Sky at Stamford Bridge. And I spoke to him about last season and the fact that when it came to it, Arsenal really didn't do themselves justice in that game against Newcastle United. 2-0 they lost the first home leg, 2-0 they lost the second leg. And do you remember that first leg? Mikel Arteta blamed the way that the balls were flying. Anyway, they have parked that to some extent, but they will use that as a real motivation to prove that they can go all the way in this competition and get their hands on some silverware this season.
Football gives you another chance. We've been really consistent again in the competition, and now we have to knock another big team out of the competition to be in the final, and that's the mission. Hopefully we learn from last year, because it was painful, especially the manner that the games went and the amount of chances that we missed not to go through. But hopefully this year we are better and especially more efficient. The more you are involved in these kind of games, the better, because it gives you a nudge. It brings the team a different kind of energy, and it gives you the sense that the objective is very, very close, and that's a massive motivation for everybody. So we know that we are 2 games away from playing a final. We have to go game by game, and the first one is Stamford Bridge, and we know we have a really tough opponent in front.
So, Gail, into the last 4 of the Carabao Cup, 4th round of the FA Cup, top of the Premier League, top of the Champions League group as well. But does Mikel Arteta feel that he's got the squad to be able to cope on all 4 fronts?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, juggling all of those. I'll bring you some team news in a moment, which suggests they could be a little bit thin in areas tomorrow evening. But in terms of having... It's not a distraction, is it? But just the Premier League, they are 6 points clear at the top, is so intense. Every single game, every moment of every single game being scrutinised. Every point matters so much. We know how tight this title race is set to be, and we know that they haven't won it in over 2 decades, and how we expect the likes of Manchester City to come back at them. They've fallen short, haven't they? So the pressure is so much on them in the Premier League that actually... Saturday and that win with 10 changes, despite going behind early. Tomorrow night, the return leg in a couple of weeks' time, just gives them that opportunity to go and express themselves in a slightly different way, doesn't it? Yes, everyone wants to be there, and yes, they want to win, but it's just not that scrutiny in the same sort of moments. Everybody knows that this club wants to win the Premier League this season. That is their main ambition. But it was interesting when he talked about what winning the Cup did at Manchester City when he was Pep's number 2 and how it did drive them on. And this is what he had to say.
As I said before, obviously, when you get to this stage in the competition, you get to the final and you get over the line and win it, it brings energy, it brings belief, and the sense that everybody is very important and playing part of that. So, yeah, I think it's something, when you get there and win it, everybody remembers, and if not, nobody does. So once you get there, get the job done. At the end, you have to try to manage the squad, individuals in the best way. I think we are sharing the minutes while we remain very, very competitive, and that's what we have to try to do. And tomorrow we have another opportunity with the players that will start and finish the game, and it will continue like this till May, because it's going to be a game every 3 days.
We know, don't we, he made those changes against Portsmouth, 10 in all, but we also know that the likes of Odegaard and Rice and Timber all came off the bench. Now, William Saliba and Leonardo Trossard didn't make that squad, and they are a doubt for tomorrow evening, and that's alongside the likes of Nkapia, Mosquera and Dalman and Calafiori. They're all not quite back, so it could be a bit of a makeshift back four. Christian Norgard, of course, playing in that back four against Portsmouth on the weekend. But either way, he's coming up against a man in Liam Rosenior, who they shared the FA Cup final with in 2014. He talked quite fondly about him and his progress. Of course, Rosenior on the losing side for Hull that day, Arteta going to lift that trophy. And the amazing way that football kind of throws up these stories. Rosenior very, very new to this role at the highest level. And Arteta talked about how fascinating he is to see how that plays out. Obviously wishes him the best of luck, just not for tomorrow.
Yeah, intriguing game this one. Chelsea against Arsenal tomorrow night at Stamford Bridge. Gail, thanks for now.
Liam Rosenior has offered Mikel Arteta's tenure at Arsenal as an example of what can happen when managers are given time to grow into their roles. Rosenior's first home game in charge of Chelsea is against Arsenal in the EFL Cup semi-final. First leg live on Sky Sports.
Everyone starts somewhere. It doesn't matter.
Not everyone starts at one of the biggest clubs, and you two have done that.
I haven't quite started.
No, but, your first job in the Premier League,
Yeah. No, I think Mikel is someone who's done an incredible job. He's had time to build the way he wants his team to look. They're very well organised. They're very good in terms of their organisation in every aspect of the game. And he's done a very, very good job there. Like I said, everyone has to start somewhere. I'm really, really looking forward to the game. It's just one of those things that everybody has a different background. Everyone has a different way of getting to somewhere. And you respect everybody in the industry, because it's a difficult industry to be in. Especially as a coach, you're judged on every word, every action, every game. And if you can't deal with that pressure, then you shouldn't be in the job. I'd love to be here for 6 years and longer. I'll be here as long as possible, but I'm aware in order for that to happen, I need to win. It's as simple as that. I understand every club has a different project. This word project comes out a lot now in football. But the idea in any project is that every game you play, you're trying to win it. It's as simple as that. So for me, my focus is, yes, I've got ideas about what I want a team to look like in a year's time, 2 years, 3 years' time. But I think I've got enough resources and enough tools with me now to win now. We've been working tactically on Arsenal from the moment I came into the club. We know what an important game it is, watched all of their games, analysed every aspect of their game, including set plays, at which they're very good at. There's a lot you can affect. We talk about systems and tactics. What I was very happy with after being for 2 days, I saw an attitude in the team against Charlton that I really, really liked. In terms of our energy, in terms of our intensity to press, in terms of winning duels, then you're going to need that against a very, very good team on Wednesday night. You manage your 1% to be as good a team to win as many different ways as possible. I respect them. I think they'll respect us because we're a good team as well. But no, like people can talk. I don't know who's calling them set piece FC. I'm definitely not. I think they're a team who are very good without the ball. I think they have a really, really clear idea in the way they want to play with the ball. And on top of that, they're very, very well organised with good delivery on set plays. That's what you want to be if you want to be successful. And that's the idea for every coach. It's not a cliche. I want to win every game I play. It's very simple. Like, it's not, if you don't take care of the next game, those trophies don't exist. It's as simple as that. So I'm not thinking about buying time. I'm thinking about winning the next game. I felt about that against Charlton. I feel about that against Arsenal. And after that, I'll feel about that against Brentford. I'm focused on the moment. I'm focused on putting on the best training sessions, the best meetings, the best advice, the best information I can to win the next game. Because of it, honestly, finals and trophies don't exist if you don't take care of them now.
Well, Clinton, he said there he wants to be there for more than 6 years. Who do you think the last Chelsea manager was to last 3?
I don't even know. Someone like Jose? No, wasn't Jose. I don't even know. And it was Jose. I thought it was Jose.
First time around.
The first time when he said, "Call me the special one." Yeah, he was good then.
So therefore, is he being entirely unrealistic to think he'll be there for 6 years?
No, but I feel you have to be confident and back yourself. Obviously, it is difficult with the way Chelsea keep sacking managers and getting rid of managers. You would probably say, if he's a better man, he might not be there for 6 years. But when he's getting asked questions, knowing Liam, he's very intelligent. I just said to you off air, he speaks ever so well. So whatever questions you'll throw at him, he'll back them away and answer them in the best way possible. I think he's very detailed in what he wants to do. And he believes in himself. And if he believes in himself that he thinks he could be there or hopes to be there for the next 6 years, why can't he come out and say it? That's someone who's confident in himself. And I understand people will say, well, he's at a big club. No, that's how he is as an individual. That's how he is as a person. And you wish him well. And obviously, it's a good start against Charlton. But now the Arsenal game's the big game. It's a massive game. And that's when they'll really start judging him.
Do you think it's hard as a manager to be entirely true to your beliefs? Or do you go in planning on being there for 6 years? Or do you think this is probably going to be 18 months top, so let's just try and find a method where I can win something, and even if I get sacked, I might get out of there with my reputation enhanced?
Well, that's what Enzo Maresca did. He went in there and he was there for that time, but he won stuff. And Liam will be the same. Liam will go, if I can win stuff at Chelsea, then your stock's high. No matter what happens at the football club, he will get another good job if he leaves Chelsea. But obviously, if people are going to ask him questions, his aim is to be there for 6 years. And if he is there for even half of that, for the 6-year contract, he's doing a brilliant job at Chelsea, as we've seen with Chelsea managers losing their jobs. So I feel you have to believe in yourself. It's going to be difficult. There's going to be ups and downs, but hopefully he will stay there a long time. I like him. I got a lot of trust in him, having worked with him on Sky in the early years. He always knew he wanted to be a manager. In the nicest possible way, Rob, he speaks well, but when you call people busy, he was the busy guy. He wanted to go and do the tactics board and stuff like that, and I think he's outstanding, so I wish him all the best.
The irony of Clinton Morrison calling someone else busy is definitely not lost on me.
In a nice way, in a very, very nice way, though.
Well, people in glass houses, Clinton, you'll be able to see a very